On today's episode of WatchJRGo, we are back with an episode you have been waiting for a very long time. That's right, the Mini engine should be going back in today. What is going on, guys? I'm WatchJRGo, and today I'm here with Eric and Jordan, and everybody showed up so we could crank this thing out of here. So, in the last episode on the Mini, you guys saw I pulled the transmission off of that engine. That's our good engine there, and that's our good transmission there, which needs to go in the car behind me. But this transmission and this engine need to go together on this subframe, and we can put them back in the car. So today's mission is to get this engine off of the subframe here, drop the new engine on, and put it all back together so we've got a running package that's ready to go in. And there are a lot of parts that go into this Lego set here. You can see we've got the intake over here, the entire exhaust setup with the turbo, all that's got to go back on, all these heat shields. There is a lot of work in between here and there, and we got to get all that done today, and even move the flywheel. Literally a lot of work. So with that said, let's get to it and start swapping some parts. Well, of course, I thought we were just gonna jump in here and pull this engine out of the subframe in 5 minutes flat, because it shouldn't take any longer than that, but that is not what happened at all. You can see we're in here with 2 pry bars, and I brought out the sledgehammer. Usually you take the sledgehammer and tap on the cup until the clip in the CV releases. You gotta get the clip centered up and then it should pop right out. But we pried and pried and pried and pried, and eventually got tired of holding this up. Brought in the floor jack just to support the suspension there because it weighs so much. And even after all this fighting, we were not making it. So I pull out the torch right here and we lit that CV on fire, basically trying to get it out of there, and it did not move at all. So we pulled out a bunch of copper wire and tried to make a little makeshift slide hammer tied around the cup, and that didn't work either. So we went back to the pry bars, and eventually I went over to the toolbox, grabbed the air hammer, and lo and behold, 2 seconds with the air hammer and 1 touch with a pry bar, and it recentered the clip and the CV fell right out. And no, we didn't hurt the engine. It was just kind of chilling on its side during that period, and we picked it right back up. And it's the bad engine anyway, so who cares? But a couple minutes later, well, 40 minutes later, the engine is out. Guys, we have got the old engine out of there, and the transmission is going back on right now. Eric is torquing down the torque converter bolts.
What size do you think they are?
Torque. 15s. 15s if I had to guess. And then I'm going to spin the engine over, and we are ready to drop this thing into the subframe. So we are going to have to change one CV because this CV fought us to the death until we got an air hammer on it. Didn't even think about the air hammer until it was too late. But now we've got that solved. And we're gonna have to replace a soy bar length there. You guys can see that fell apart too. So we're about to drop the entire assembly onto the subframe, and we'll be headed back towards the car after we get the turbo on. Ooh, I should have regulated the chain.
I can come back down, not very high.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Full bore drop coming in 2.
Let me just move my foot. All right, we're good, we're good, we're good.
This is Jordan's job.
All right, here we go. Take her on up, and now it'll automatically rotate in the position. That is the position, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
We had it spun around the right way once.
We did, and then we wanted to mess it up. Professionals, you know. All right.
But what I didn't get was the shark attack.
Go for it.
Put your foot under that cart if you can. We're under. I stopped it, so just go. Keep
right. We're getting close to lining up that engine now?
Close. Need to come down farther. Okay, coming. Okay, stay right there. One more. I'm stopped at the moment.
You liking that? Pretty close. Yeah. All right. Look at that.
You want me to leave it there for a minute?
Boom. Butter.
Yes, please.
Now all we have to do is get the exhaust manifold on here and change out all the CVs and all that good stuff, and we should be home free. So plenty of work to do, and we're gonna get to it right now. As you can see, the engine is finally, okay, my socket's stuck now, buttoned up. We are ready to drop the subframe, engine and all, back into this thing. As soon as I tighten up these heat shields here, we've got all the coolant lines, oil lines for the turbo, all set up here. Everything's plugged in for the most part, so a couple more seconds of work, And I think we're actually ready to drop this. We're gonna tie everything up so it doesn't pull the CVs out and lift this thing right up into its home. So finally, 10 months later, we're just kind of hoping this thing goes back together because we don't really know where any of the parts, it's Legos.
That's how Mini Coopers are built.
That's just how Mini Coopers work, right? As far as I know. All right, I'm gonna grab a little bit of wire, tie the suspension up, and then we'll let all the jacks out and slide it under. Ooh, look at that. It looks like there might be an engine in this car. We are making some progress. Everything's getting lined up right now. Find anything interesting there, Jordan?
No, not yet.
Yeah, it's not very interesting. It's in and out, in and out. So we are getting much closer. We're gonna put all of our wires right there so we don't lose anything. We don't want to stretch any wires out and destroy our brand new build here. And we also have to make sure we don't lose our coolant hose clamp right there. That's not that clamp, I can tell you that much. It looks like we're just a few more minutes jacking this thing up and into position while we line up all the bolts at one time. And we should have it ready to go in for real. Look at that, guys. The Mini engine is back in place where it belongs. It's been a long time. It's been a long time, but we are super excited about this. All the bolts that need to be in are in, engine mounts, subframe, but now there's a lot of time left before this car starts. I'd love to start it up today, but we still have to get the starter in, ECUs in, and honestly, we should just kind of wrap up everything else. Before I do all the coolant though, we are gonna start it. So one more day of work, and hopefully this Mini is coming off the lift. And the thing is, there's so many differences between the manual and the automatic that I left the hoses on the engine for a lot of the manual stuff. Really only one of them has to change, but it has like a Y in it that goes to the transmission cooler that's not there if you have a manual. So quite a few things to do, and we're gonna get all that knocked out in the next video. And in the next video, we better be driving this thing too. And if we're not driving it, guys, I promise you, we're pushing it outside and it's staying out there forever. It will be off the lift and we will be working on new cars, which I know everyone is very excited for. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Huge thanks to Eric and Jordan for helping out with this today, because it's a long day doing it by yourself, that's for sure. And there's a lot of lifting, cherry picking, jacking things up. So you need lift tables and hydraulic jacks, all kinds of stuff to get all this separated. We got it all done. It's either that or manhandle it. And we're all getting too old to do that with our backs. Don't forget to head on over to shop.WatchJRGo.com for cool shirts just like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. And I will talk to you next time. Honestly, the main thing here is I lost the starter. I don't know where it is. It was here before. And now for some reason, I just don't see the starter anywhere around. And it was all perfectly laid out. So we're going to have to go on a hunt, dig up that starter, and then we'll be back in action for the first start. I found it. It was just over here by this oil pan with all the other bolts from the teardown engine, the parts engine. I really wanted to just throw the starter on the Mini and fire it up today, and I'm sure all of you did too, but then I realized how far away I actually am from the first startup of the Mini, right? So starter is one thing, that's not the end of the world, but we changed the fuel rail over to the pump that was on the other engine, right? So basically, we don't know if the high pressure fuel pump sender or control are gonna work properly at this point. So obviously we still need starter, ECU, oil, swap out that coolant hose that's wrong, and then we have to figure out if the fuel is gonna work or not. And if it doesn't, I gotta pull a few more things off, swap pumps, swap fuel rails, and then start it up. So we'll find out in the next video just how many more hours of work I have to do before the first fire. Hopefully it's none, but the reality is it could be a lot.